right now with Chris H. Olsen to talk about, of course, gardening advice. And, you know, our homes and gardens, they can flourish any time of the year thanks to evergreen plants. So you brought some different options, different textures and colors. Tell me about the plants that you brought today.
Well, most evergreens are the foundation plantings in any landscape. And what we usually think of are boxwoods, which I happen to love.
Right.
But we think of hollies, and that's all we see almost anywhere we go. So everything you see here is a winter hardy evergreen plant. And we talked about it before. It's not necessarily just about the color of the plant or the flowers. It is all about the different textures that you have.
Okay.
And all of these are low maintenance. And I brought some things for the hot sun, some things for the shade. So we're going to kind of go over it. First thing is, let's start on our side over here. You love this plant right here.
This is so pretty. It almost looks tropical to me.
It is. It looks tropical, but it's winter hardy, except for when we have Arctic blast, it can burn it down, but it comes back. And this one's called Spider Fatsia.
Okay.
Regular Fatsia has green leaves, but if you notice, this one kind of has a white variegated to it, so that gives it a little bit more color, and it grows in a great dark area.
You can grow it anywhere.
Yeah,
almost.
like if you have a dark porch or if you have big, long covered eaves, and they darken down below, Fatsia is perfect for it.
And this gets pretty large.
Yeah, it can get about 8 foot tall.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it gets good size.
Almost as tall as Adam.
Yep. Yes, this will be as good for Adam.
Yeah.
And then for other shade areas, this one is beautiful. This is called the plum yew.
This one right here?
Let's call it the plum yew right here. There you go.
So make sure you can see that.
Look how beautiful that is. The texture of it, it's soft and wispy, dark green. Again, it can take, you know, semi-shade to shade, so it's great plant. Good drainage is a must for it.
Okay.
I love when the new growth comes out. It's light green.
Oh yeah, I see that. So it's got a little variation.
And it's called Utopia, not Plantopia, but Utopia.
Got it.
Love that. Now this is the one that we were almost looking at.
Right, let's pull that one
And this is a Mahonia called Soft Crest.
Okay.
Now Mahonias are also called Oregon grapes, and a lot of us think of them because they're real sharp foliage and they look like a holly. But this will get about 4 or 5 foot tall, light and wispy, also a shady area.
Okay.
Perfect for it.
So let's do this one. Say that you want to, brighten things up a little bit. You want some variation.
Yeah,
you want it to pop.
This is a little bit more sunshine. This is Abelia. This is variegated Abelia. Love this plant because it also comes in lime green. And the old Abelia used to be a huge hedge. This is a dwarf variety, maybe 2 or 3 foot, variegated. Love this plant too.
That's really
Look at this one. Now this is Laura petalum, or we also know as purple fringe. This is a smaller version of it, but this is called jazz hands.
That's
and
great.
I'm not exactly sure why, but maybe it looks like it. But look at the variegated foliage. I mean, imagine planting this.
That really brings color.
Yeah, it brings color. Imagine planting that with that in a garden.
That's
Boom.
pretty.
And I bet you your neighbor doesn't have it.
What is this on the end?
Love these. These are yuccas, which are old-fashioned plants. But this one is wonderful because it's called red yucca. And it doesn't have the big thorny sword foliage. But when it blooms in spring, tall spikes of orange flowers that looks just like an aloe vera.
Okay, I love that.
Easy. And if you have a drought area in your yard, you want this. You can mix it with the variegated, or it's called color guard.
I love that look.
Yucca, love that look. And last, I did bring some boxwoods because remember, they are my favorite.
Yes, and you can't go wrong with these.
You can't go wrong. This one's called Green Gem. It's a little softer foliage, smaller size, and then the variegated. Right now, we're coasting and it feels good, but it's coming. I was just talking to Tracy. The heat and the dryness are coming. And there's so many different plants you can use that thrive in the heat. And for some of us who are not good waterers and neglect our plants, they're not 100% can survive, but they do need a little love. So I brought a few things. First thing is, I love using the butterfly bush.
That's pretty.
The butterfly bush, the regular varieties can get quite tall. They have the silver gray foliage, but this is a dwarf variety, so if you want something a little bit more compact, hummingbirds, bees, it's a great pollinator, and it has a sweet fragrance. Love to add that in my landscape. And then this is awesome. I'll tell you what, this is the hardy hibiscus.
And it hasn't bloomed yet, but I see they're
and it comes in so many varieties. Green foliage. This has a burgundy, so it's a great contrast. But it has the dinner plate hibiscus flowers, which look tropical but very hardy here. And the hotter the summer is, the better it does.
Okay.
Complement that with this shrub. Look at this. This is called Texas sage.
I love it.
Isn't that beautiful?
So
and really, you go throughout Texas, you'll see this everywhere. But it is winter hardy here in Arkansas. Silver gray foliage and beautiful lavender flowers. Great texture as well. I like to do that in a real rocky, dry area. It does
How long does this
awesome.
bloom?
On and off all summer long.
Okay.
So it's really
Good.
great.
Good.
And then in the coolness of the nights in fall, it blooms again.
Nice.
Lantana, of course, we talked about before, but lantana for the most part is hardy here, even though it's an annual. But if you mix it with the blue scabiole flanflower, look how beautiful that is.
That is very
great.
pretty.
So
This
that's-
is great.
So, okay, so this is multiple.
Yeah, this is a couple plants. It's a
Okay.
hanging basket, but we take it out of the basket, we plant it. This is great for like a pool area and pots.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
lantana loves the heat of summer, but it still needs to be watered, but it loves the heat. One of my favorite perennials is garden phlox, and smell that.
Oh, that does smell
what's
really
that?
You don't realize it has a
really good.
sweet
It's almost
fragrance.
like a honeysuckle.
Yes, I reminds me of my grandparents' house in Connecticut. They had this growing against a stone wall, so I remember it. And garden phlox are beautiful. This gets
they spread?
taller. It gets a clump, and it actually gets about 24 inches tall, but blooms on and off all summer long through the
need
fall.
this.
Yeah, and this plant, I got to show you this one. This looks like not much right now, but this is called flame acanthus, Acanthus. And I'm telling you what, in midsummer and the end of summer, it looks like it's on fire
Really?
with fire red flowers.
Really?
Not winter hardy per se as much, but awesome in the heat of summertime.
Yeah.
Mix it with your tropical hibiscus, different than the hardy because this is not winter hardy.
I love these.
And down below we have the abelia. I love mixing any
yeah.
type of lime green to my mixture. Great. And if you contrast it against the purple fringe, boom,
Yeah.
you have instant
He's
color.
excited.
I get excited.
Look, I just wish you'd come and
He
just
says
do
that
my
every
whole.
I mean,
week.
how many
Every
years
week.
have you told me that?
Every week
I
he
told
says
him,
it.
give me a credit card or a blank check and I'll take care of it.
Exactly.
It's a lot easier because I don't. I'm always just impressed that you're like, this is this, this is that. I'm like,
And
how do
you
you
even know how to
remember it
spell
all?
it.
That's
well,
right.
you know, like you guys can do radio and stuff. I can't do those things, but I can do plants. It's
You
just
can
my
do
passion.
plants. That's
It's my
why
passion.
that you're so successful, and you get excited about it. It's what you love.
Wonderful.
It's arts and crafts.
Chris
I
H.
love
Olsen
when we
with
get to do that.
Botanic
Yeah.
Gardens Plantopia is here to teach us some new skills.
We're gonna make fun and funky pots, and I even made this one for Memorial Day. Look how fun that
That's
is.
cute.
It's all
Awesome.
festive.
How did
okay,
you do it?
Teach
this
us
is
how to
for
do it.
you.
Okay.
I
Okay,
get
so
the
what you're
little
gonna
one.
do?
Come close.
First of all,
I'm
you
taking
want to.
this. I'm gonna. Let me take this
you-
off.
Are you worried
I'm
you're
afraid
gonna get?
about this. Yeah, this jacket.
I did bring paper towels
I got
just in
paper.
case because you will get paint on
You're
yourself.
wearing white britches
Yes.
too. You better be
That's
careful.
okay. Okay. I just don't want to mess up the jacket.
Well, I gave you the
All
small
right.
one so you don't splatter.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, of course.
All right, here we go. I'm
Okay,
ready
so all
now.
you need is cardboard. You want to put foil because you can, when this dries, it will stick if it's not
Okay.
aluminum foil underneath it.
Okay.
And then any type of acrylic paint.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Do we
and-
need to-
sorry.
we
No,
just-
no. Help yourself. Pick the colors. Now, there's
right.
different ways to do it. Like I did a stripe design on this one where I just drip down like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Start from the rim,
Okay.
and it will drip down. Gravity will pull the paint down. Now, be
Is that too
generous.
much?
No,
Oh.
you need more.
This color.
I mean, you make a mess.
color.
Okay.
Okay, so we just do it around there.
Yep, anything, and you can do any kind of color thing that you want, which is fun. I did this one with a little bit more pastel colors. I did it where it was gloppy and droopy down.
Yeah.
And
Why are you looking at mine?
I'm trying to see it. What's going to happen now? I got to
okay,
go like
you're doing it
right
right.
here?
See, she's
Okay.
putting. You got. Okay, you're doing good.
Okay.
I don't
And then you
dilly-dally around.
You could do any kind of color thing. So this is great for kids.
Yeah.
Like we did the Memorial Day colors.
Yeah.
If you like more rich tones, you can do rich tones. You can even get
going
acrylic
pastel,
paint.
apparently.
This would be
like
great
in
for
taupe
Easter,
and do that.
This is for
Christmas.
Christmas, any type of thing.
Anytime.
Great for if you're going to bring if we're going to bring this to a party. I mean, when they love this to put on a table.
No, that is cute. And you sprayed the moss.
But the moss comes red,
Oh,
but
it
you
came
can't.
red.
Yeah, so you do the color with it. Now you
here,
just
Mom.
go ahead and glob it all over. Now it looks like it's not going to cover everything, but it eventually will. Now remember, it's okay if it shows a little bit of the terracotta. Is that in your way?
Sorry, they're giving
And
me
you see,
instructions
yeah,
in my
they're like,
ear.
"Move
Okay,
that,"
I'm gonna
so
get
we can
that out
see
of
it
your
better.
way.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so
this
am
is
I-
actually kind of fun.
It
is
is
really
fun.
fun.
It takes all your, if you're mad or angry, just like,
Yeah.
and such.
All right.
And you
I mean,
can
I feel like
customize.
I'm oh my gosh,
That's
that was
okay.
a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
wasting
why
some.
we have it in a cardboard box. You got your white, so you're doing the more of the girly colors.
Yeah, I am. And I'm thinking like by the pool.
By the pool,
You know,
little summertime, and then and you try to cover as much of the terracotta as you can, but realize that a lot of it will cover it in time.
Right.
Now, okay, once you're done with this,
Yeah.
it's going to take about 24 hours to let it dry, just the way it is.
Okay.
And what I do is, when I'm finished, I'll go up and then down like that, just so I get the rim gets color
yeah.
on it too. Now,
side.
and
Oh, God.
when you're about 24 hours later, you take it and you turn it upright. Now, because it's so thick on the bottom, it still could be wet. So
Okay.
you want to give it a few more hours for the rim to dry the next day before you put soil in it or plants in it and that stuff, or before you give it away.
Gotcha.
Looks really cute when you put a plant in it. If you put like a pink bow on this,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you could just have
You
fun
can sell
with
mine
it.
if you want.
Well,
It'll
that's what I was
probably-
going to say. Will you
know.
take this to Botanica Gardens and sell it?
Put our
and
name
say,
on it and
Yes,
say,
yes.
These.
made at the
This
mine.
is actually one of the
See, you're
most,
leaving some of the terracotta clay, which I like.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
like. I'm going to
I
bring
feel like
this
I'm
one
wasting all
down.
the
So this one is
stuff.
kind of like what Adam's doing. See the drip?
Yeah.
And then I use the green moss,
Oh
and
my
I
gosh,
used the
you
orange
used a
plant.
ton of paint.
I use a ton of paint. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
make a
Ashley
mess.
did. It's a lot.
Make a mess.
In case you didn't know, this is not a covered weather garden, and that's okay. Chris H. Olsen is here. We need some moisture for these ferns. Somebody said that doesn't look like a fern, but in fact it is.
These are ferns. These are called
different kinds of ferns.
staghorn ferns, and you know they love moisture. So this is the perfect day for the perfect segment. And thank you, Tracy, for
Yeah.
giving us this rain
She
during
told
our
us it was going to
segment.
happen. She said it's happening.
She calls the wind for Tom Brandon and the rain for us. She's
Yep.
doing great. Anyway, staghorn ferns are awesome. They look kind of prehistoric.
Yeah, they do.
And the thing about them, they're so easy to grow. Now, normally you will find them in a hanging pot, or a lot of times you find them attached to a board.
Okay.
And which is the main way you can find them. But they also are great as just plants in containers as well.
Okay.
So I want to bring a few different varieties. This one is really cool. If you notice, this is called the shield.
It looks like an elephant ear.
It looks like a very much like an elephant ear,
Yeah.
and the shield is what actually attaches it to a board.
Okay.
So at first you have to tie it to a board, and then it will attach itself. This one's called Wanda, and if you look at it, it's really kind of fun and funky.
Did you
just
say it's
in a
called
pot.
Wanda?
Wanda. That's the variety.
Okay.
There are 17 different varieties of staghorn ferns in the world so far that we know of.
Okay.
And they grow on other things. So they normally grow in trees, on bark. They're not a ground dweller.
Okay.
That's why they like to be slightly dry. So a few things to remember about your staghorns is, number one, light. They like bright, indirect light, but not direct sunshine. So when you look at my hair, is
No, I'm looking at the clouds coming this way.
no. But anyhow,
I was trying to be a
Thank
tough guy.
you, thank
All right,
you.
Here we go.
Okay,
I got you.
and so you want bright light, and then they like a mixture of soil that's like bark and
Okay.
peat moss, and that holds the moisture. And they like to be kept moist, but they're okay with drying out in between waterings.
Okay.
Now, if you do that, you can keep them for years and years and years. I have a friend who has one that's 35 years old on a board,
Wow.
and it's massive. Of course, you can bring it out in the summertime, out, it loves the humidity,
Okay.
but you got to bring it in, you know, in the
During the
winter time.
cooler months, yeah.
A couple other things with them. The only thing that affects them, they're pretty low maintenance, is they get mealybugs and scale.
Okay. How do you treat for that?
Two ways to do it. Well, you can take like this is cool. This is a leaf cleaning glove.
Okay.
It's like a washcloth.
feel it.
Yeah,
Oh,
see?
yeah, it's right- yeah.
Yeah, you can put
It's
it on
like a-
both hands.
Microfiber.
Yeah, exactly right. And then you put it in water, and then you can just go like this and wipe the scale off of them, and you can self-clean it that way. And then I'll use an all-purpose insecticide like Triple Action Plus because it's insecticide, fungicide, and miticide. Takes care of everything, and that will keep them clean. If you keep them clean periodically, you never have a problem.
Okay.
That's the only thing that really affects them. And then you can go ahead and attach them to anything. A board, logs, if you want to make it look really cool, and I'll
Yeah.
just wrap them with fishing line, or sometimes I might use some of my little floral pins
Okay.
and such. I even have a friend who has a piece of metal, like a shield, it looks like, from an old building, and he attached it to that. So you can have fun with these and how you use them.
And they can stay inside all day?
yeah. Oh, yeah, they're great
Or,
inside.
I mean, yeah, all 12 months out of the year.
yeah, all year long, absolutely.
I almost
Yeah.
made it 24 months to a year.
That's a long time. I get a lot done in 1 year then.
Okay, we unfortunately we've run out of time. How can we learn more about these ferns and just what you all do in general?
Well, just come on into Botanica Gardens. We have them there. They just came in, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Sorry for the rain, but it's good for
That's
the plants.
okay.
It's good.